Hello everybody, welcome back to Crafts by the Bow. In my last video I made the paper pumpkin set from July 2025, and as you know I'm working through all of my paper pumpkins and my kits and trying to put them together, but also I'm going to make an extra project for each set. So I made these in my last video, so you can check back to see how I made these. But this is my extra project. And I'm going to make a slider latch card, which my friend Shauna in Moose Jaw with Stamp Ventures with Shauna, she showed me how to make this a long while ago, and I use it quite a lot, and I use it for classes too. And so we're going to make that, and I'm using one of the bases. I'm using this base. So instead of using designer series paper, I'm going to use one of the card bases. And you could use a card base for this one. You could use the garden green card base, but I've actually cut a piece of garden green. So if you wanted to take a screenshot of the sizings, and then I'll show you how I make it. Okay, so let's pop these on one side. These are little pieces out of the paper pumpkin kit. But if you didn't have the paper pumpkin kit and you're making this just as a standalone project, you could use die cut images of flowers or trees, whatever you wanted. Okay, I'll leave that there so that you can see that, but I'm going to move the other things. Now, this is the card base that I used. Let's pop that together so you can see. So it goes together like this, and I cut the whole piece at 5 1/4. And then this piece I will use on another card or project. And let's take that one away. I just cut, so it's 5 1/4 across. I cut a piece 2 1/4, and then another piece at 1 inch, so that these two pieces, the paper actually still goes together. The pattern isn't broken. So I've got those. And then for the card base, it's half a sheet of garden green, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. But what I did was I just cut a 1/2 inch off one end to make it 5 1/2 by 8. And then with my trimmer, I popped it in to score it. So I'm scoring on the longer side, and I scored it at 1 1/4 and then at 5 1/2. So 1 1/4 and 5 1/2. And then when you fold it and burnish it, you get a card, a base that has a gap down the middle. And that's exactly right. That's how you want it to be. The narrow piece goes at the bottom and the wider piece goes at the top. And your little slider attachment is going to go through here. So I'm going to put my designer series paper or my card base on here first, and the larger piece goes on the top and this smaller piece goes on the bottom. And so you can actually just see that the pattern matches, and that's why I chose to have it like that. Okay, so let's attach that. Let's find some glue. And as you probably know, I have a lot of paper pumpkin kits, and so I'm not using them. And so I thought I would go through and start to use them. Now, on the card base, you can see that there's a little score line on there. Once it's on the card, you can't really see it. But if it does bother you, what you can do is just get a bone folder, and where that score line is on the back, if you just push over it a little bit like this, a lot of it will disappear. And then do the front as well. And it's less noticeable, it's less obvious. Okay, so this one's going to go right on the bottom. And that actually leaves me with one more piece with the pattern running sort of horizontal. And I could pop it on the inside here. I could cut it down and put it on the inside here, whatever you wanted. Okay, I'm just going to pop the lid on my glue. So the next thing I'm going to do is to put my basic white, this piece here, on the inside and line it up as though I was going to attach it, but I'm not actually attaching it yet. I'm just laying it there. I'm closing these flaps, and with a pencil, I'm going to just draw a line here because I want to stamp a sentiment here. And I need it to be right in the middle here, so that when my card's closed, I can see the sentiment. If I was just to stamp my sentiment, I might not stamp it in the right place. And when this is closed, I might only see half of it. So I don't see patterns all that well. So I'm just drawing that with a pencil. And I know that I'm going to stamp at this right-hand side. So I'm going to take that out, and I'm going to use one of the stamps from the set. And I've got the You're the Best here. And all you need to do is to check that your sentiment fits in that little pencil mark that you've made, just like this. I know that that does. I know that's going to work. So let's pop it back on my stamping block. Oh, a little bit of fluff on there now. Doesn't want to come off. There we go. And I'm just going to pop it on there. And I've also got the thank you stamp. I'm going to stamp this right up at the top left. You could use the hello friend, you could use an image. You don't have to stamp two sentiments. So let's pop this on. And I'm just going to make sure it's right in the middle and off to the right hand side. Okay. Let's find a little wipe and clean that. And the thank you, I'm going to pop up here in the corner. And I know that as long as it's in this space and not sort of parallel with this, then I know you won't see it when the card's closed. And it still gives me space to write. If I write who it's to and, you know, like a little sentiment of my own, I know it'll still fit. Okay, and then I'm just going to use an eraser, and I'm going to erase that pencil line that I made. Let's just turn it round. I don't want to smudge over the ink just if it isn't quite dry. Okay, let's pop that out the way. And then I'm going to actually attach this now. Pop it on the inside there. And I'm just going to pop it in with a stamping seal. Just for speed, really. Before I fully squish it down, I'm just going to make sure that I can see that sentiment. Yeah, look, there it is, right in the middle, looking good. And you can't see the thank you. Okay. Now, next we're going to make the little slider latch. And the pieces I got out, you just see where they are with those. The pieces I got out were the little scalloped piece from the kit, a couple of the strawberries, a couple of the flowers, and then this I die cut from Pool Party. And I used these Spotlight on Nature dies. If you don't have these, it doesn't matter, you can use a different circle die. I just used this one. If you have like a punch, you need something about 2.5 inches. So for me, this just worked perfectly. It's any other one that you have. And this is going to become the slider, and I'm going to put it here. Now, I chose this colour because it matched the pattern here, but you could use just basic white. You could use the same colour as the card base, whatever you wanted. Look how pretty that looks on top of there with those little lines. So I'm going to pop that there. And that will become, as I say, that will become our slider. Now I need another one of those cut in, and I I didn't bring the die cut machine over with me, so you'll have to excuse me for a moment while I just go and cut it, because I need one for the underneath as well, and I totally forgot about that. Let me just go and die cut another one. I'm back. My apologies for that. I totally forgot to cut two. I'm just going to ease that out. Let's put my dies down. So this one will actually go underneath here, and this one I'll glue on the top like this. You could use just one, but because this is quite thin card, I didn't want to use it just on its own, just in case it wasn't strong enough. So I'm actually going to, use both of them. So what we need to do is to attach one to the circle. So let's, to our die cut circle. We're not doing any stamping on there. Okay, I will put my images on, and I'm going to just use these two little strawberries, and I'm going to glue the larger one down flat, and the smaller one I'm going to put on with a dimensional, so, because it'll get quite a lot of use. I'm going to put two on just to make it a little bit stronger. Pop that there, and then we're ready to put the whole thing together. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to close this up and sort of check to see where I want the bottom of this to be. Yeah, I'm just going to move it up a slight bit. There we are. Okay, so I've got the second circle there, and I'm going to put my dimensionals onto here. So if I close these little doors again, I'm going to put dimensionals across here to hold the front on. And the height of the dimensionals will just give us enough to make sure that it works as a little slider. And it's not going to get caught. So I'm going to turn that one round. There we go. I'm going to put 4 across, just because it's quite a large circle. Okay, and can you see how I'm still holding this down? So take these off. And I'm going to lay mine just over the top like this. You could slide it out, or just put it straight on top so that you know you've got it nice and straight, like this. Make a little sandwich, and you've got that little gap between, so that you can pop this back in, and it just slides between the top and the bottom. Oh, let's just move it along. There we go. So it will just slide. Okay, now where's my little flowers? Here they go. So I'm going to pop one over here, just on the corner of my strawberry here. And I'm going to just pop another. Actually, no, I think I'm just going to put one on the outside. To open it, you can slide the slider right the way across, and I'm going to put the other one on the inside. And then, you know that piece of paper that I had left? I'm actually going to put that on the inside too. Let me just see, that will fit in this corner. Let's pop that on as well. Seems a shame not to use it. And it just brightens up the inside, doesn't it? Okay, let's pop that slider back on. I like to put the bottom piece in first and then sort of just jiggle it round a little bit so that the dimensionals are in a straight line. You can see them. There we go. Doesn't want to go on now, and we know it goes on because it went on just a moment ago. Oh, I had the bottom one sticking into a dimensional because I put it sideways. In you go. There we go. I'm going to move it all the way across. Oop. I don't know why I'm making it look so difficult, because it isn't difficult. There we go. Just wanted it to be on the edge. So there we are. That's my extra project. Just a quick slide-in latch card. I hope you like that. I hope you give that one a go. And send me a picture if you do. Thanks very much, everybody. I'll see you all again really soon. Bye-bye.